Austin, how are you?
Chuck, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Oh, you're wearing the BMW championship hat there. I love it.
Yes.
So, did you go to the tournament much, or did you watch it?
I did both. I volunteered. They needed people to who knew the golf course to Castle Pines Golf Club who needed to, who knew the golf course enough to take people around, and they needed to go. The volunteers needed to go to the fourth tee. Well, it's a circuitous route to get there, so I volunteered for that and met a lot of great people, and it was just a terrific event. So I did that for four of the 5 days, and then I got to walk around and actually see out of my back porch a lot of play. Um,
Awesome.
so
Well, I won't take much of your time. I just wanted to get your feedback now. It's been a couple weeks since I came up and saw you. For those that don't know, I met Austin at Castle Pines Golf Club when I was the teaching and playing pro there. Austin, you've been a member there since, what do you say, 99?
that's accurate. Yes,
99. I think I was there. We decided in 2009, 2010, somewhere around there.
both
So
of
we've
those.
worked
Yep.
together on your golf swing for a long time. And what was your handicap when we met?
It was 12, 13, and I couldn't play to it.
We know a lot of those golfers out there. It's always tough to be able to have that handicap that actually travels. And at a club like Castle Pines, if you've got a good handicap there, it travels anywhere. But where are you now?
My index is now between 6 and 8. I'm uncomfortable at a 6, very comfortable in 8. However, Chuck, you came. We've been planning to have you come down and play this golf course, for a number of years, and you've just been too busy. So we finally worked out a time after the BMW Championship, and so Chuck came down and spent a day. I just wanted to play with him. And on the third hole, so we warm up, and it's just two of us, and it's just a bluebird day. And we warm up, and he's hitting the ball like how Chuck can hit it. And he get to the third hole, and Chuck looks at me. He said, "Would you just try something for me?" And I will tell you, for those who have now looked at the GOAT code, um, a lot of what he's talking about is really setup, and a small change in grip. And the bottom line is he changed a few things in my setup and then told me a few other things on what to do. I've been a lead side player for my entire life, and so there are certain things that you do in setup, access, tilt, and a variety of other things, and weight distribution. And I've got really good at that, and accomplished player on the lead side. And in looking at the GOAT code, I said, I'm playing so well right now. I shot my age. This goes back about 6 or 7 weeks ago. And I'm thinking, do I really, at my age, do I really want to change my swing? So he said, well, try this. And, my ball flight generally has been, with a little bit scoopy and a little bit high and a little knuckly. And all of a sudden, I hit this bullet, and it was easy. And I said, "Oh, Chuck, I think you're onto something." So again, there are some things that are not compatible with the lead side and the trail side, and so I still have a lot of work to do to get some of those idiosyncrasies out of my swing that I've had for a long, long, long time. So Chuck, I can't thank you enough. This is exciting. I shot 76 in a tournament here, the last tournament of the year at Castle Pines, and I had a couple of bad bogeys and shot 79. But at my age, if I can always be in the 80s on a golf course like Castle Pines Golf Club, hold on one sec, I will be a very, very happy guy.
Well, I think that's something that's huge. People kind of got a taste of it from watching the tournament on TV, but that golf course, especially now with the redesign, it's a proper golf course. It is
It's
a hard test of golf. It
yes.
was humbling even for me to go back and realize that after Austin told me to not be above the hole on the first 4 or 5 holes. I kept being above the hole, and and you're just done. You
You're
have to
done.
golf your ball there. And to be able to shoot your age at a golf course like that is incredible. The one thing that I really wanted to get your feedback on is that when I saw the
Oh,
first few t-shirts, go ahead.
hold on one sec. I gotta turn that off. Oh man,
Good?
I am good. Yes, I had a couple of things. Didn't turn my phone off, and so I got messages and couldn't speak. So anyway, I'm back.
No worries. So the one thing that when I first saw your ball flight was that it was, as you mentioned, kind of a high, floaty, knuckly ball. Not a lot of spin, but it definitely didn't have much penetration on it.
Right.
And you couldn't flight the ball down with your irons or wedges. And so that was one of the big things. Going from a lead side dominant pattern to trail side dominant pattern, it gives you so much more control over the shaft lean and the club face angle to de-loft it. And so I felt like that kind of culminated. We played 27 holes that day, and on our second, third nine, I guess, we went to the back nine, and the tee shot you hit on 10 was pretty special. You
300,
outdrove me on 10.
300. Well, I hit the fairway. You caught a little bit of the rough. So, but we're playing from the members tees, not the forward tees. So the two birds at Castle Pines, and I hit a drive. It's downhill. I can't remember the wind, but a 323-yard drive, and I've never been down there before. And so I hit a 9 iron into a 460-yard hole. And I mean, I've hit three wood there, and I hit it to 2 feet. Maybe it was a foot. And
Well,
then
it
the
was
next
it was
hole,
three birdies in a row, is what I recall after
it
that.
was three birdies in a row. And I'm telling you, this was without hitting a golf ball on the range.
Yeah.
This was, and again, a lot of it is setup, and a little grip change and a little weight change and access tilt, which again is all very, very different, but really actually pretty darn easy to do.
That's the thing is, we, like you said, we didn't go on the range at all. We literally just went out, warmed up for a few minutes, and then went straight to the course and played 27 holes in a row without a break. And
Right.
so, and I was just kind of walking you through some of these concepts. And what was fun about it is that it's the goat code is kind of a shortcut to be able to play really good golf and have control of the club face, because that's kind of my shtick, if you will, is the golf swing is about club face control. If you don't have control
Yeah.
of that club face, the loft, of the direction of where it's pointing, then I'm not sure what you're doing, right? You have to have control of that face. And so when you take your dominant hand for most people, and you take a couple simple concepts and you start understanding how to use your hand that you've been training to do everything in your life with your whole life, you're able to pick up club face control, and you can start applying force. You can start applying speed and not worrying about losing control. I feel like, I also played as a lead side dominant player for 30 years, and I loved it. I love everything about it. But as had all these injuries to the left side of my body, there was just no longer an option for me. But in a lead side pattern, you kind of got to let the swing unfold in a lot of ways. In a trail side pattern, you get to be a little bit more assertive. You get to be a little bit more aggressive, and kind of, once you know where that club face is pointing and you understand how to control it and feel it and sense it in that right hand, you can start applying speed and seeing the ball flight change and the penetration on it, and being able to flatten out that ball flight, because it gets windy up there at the club too. You're up on the side of a hill and you've got a south wind coming in or a western wind, and you need to be able to control and bring the flight down, especially off some of those elevated tees. And that was one of the funnest things for me to see, is you don't have to keep going back a set of tees as you get
Right.
older, right? You had been playing the three birds. We actually went back to the
Right.
two birds for the day.
We did. I said, Chuck, I can't have you play up here. I mean, you'll never hit driver, and you may never even hit three wood. And I know you love both of those clubs. One of the things that the lead side says is, you have to bow your left wrist, to get shaft lean. Well, that's hard. That's hard to do, and it's hard to do consistently. And from a trail side, you just keep your right wrist bent, and maybe it's even more bent and that was easy to do. So just, because again, your right side, yeah, well, for right-handed players, your trail side, um, you can concentrate on that. And I was able to bring the ball flight down significantly. And I don't think I changed my club head speed, which is, at my age, it has been 90. Maybe it'll go up from here because I can apply a little bit more force, but I was able to, with a 90 speed on my club head, I was able to hit a 323-yard drive, and I've done it since. I will tell you the side bend is what has really helped. And this is about halfway through. And by the way, I didn't anticipate getting a playing lesson from Chuck. I just wanted to play with a friend. So this was a tremendous gift for me. But he said, you're extending through and you're leaning forward, so have a little side bend, and that was easy to do. And when I do that, it's magic.
That's the fun part about what's coming up next in the GOAT Code, the program that I'm laying out on the site, is understanding how to create power from your trail side. And side bend is kind of a byproduct of doing it correctly. But one of the biggest things
Uh-huh.
that, if you were to look at what are the major differences between a lead side and trail side pattern, like Hogan, for instance, lead side dominant guy, only wanted his right-handed impact. Everywhere else in his book, he's warning about using anything to do with your right thumb, your forefinger, called them swing wreckers, all this stuff. And he played a constant ball position, which I always did as well as a lead side pattern, because you're pivoting on your left hip. Now, here's the thing we didn't have time to talk about during when I was there, but what's coming up in some new videos. In a trail side pattern, the last thing that you ever want to do is shift weight to the lead side. Now, I know that's going to sound kind of crazy at first. It's not that pressure doesn't go there, but pressure and weight are very different things. And so I'm going to be talking about that in an upcoming video, but the way that you create side bend is by being able to load and drive off your right hip and core. And I consider the core, kind of like from your rib cage down to where your hamstring attaches below your glute. So kind of think about that whole section of your body. But in a trail side pattern, you're actually pivoting on your trail hip, not your lead hip, which sounds bizarre and contradictory to everything that you've probably ever heard or thought about in the golf swing. But as you'll see soon, that's actually exactly what Tiger does in his swing. It's a floating pivot because his hip is moving. We think of the golf swing as, lead side pattern. It's very easy to see that the left hip, the hip shifts over, and then you just kind of rotate on that left hip. And that's what
And
you
you
need to
post
do.
up, and you
Yeah, but
post
in a trail
up.
side pattern, you don't do that at all. You create a lot of rotational force from your core and your trail hip. And yes, your hip does move forward, which moves pressure forward, but you're actually trying to always stay back and stay back behind the ball. And that was one of the things you got to see on a couple shots where, you know, I fly even my 60-degree wedge, even from 100 yards, I hit it very, very low, and hit it very penetrating and hit it very flat, and hit a couple of stinger shots out there that were really fun to hit into the wind. And that stuff is happening because I'm actually pivoting on my trail hip. And once you get a
Hmm.
feel for that, you start to realize how much speed that you can create from that trail hip without ever trying to shift weight to the lead side. When you shift weight to the lead side, and that typically causes people, their head to move forward. You had a little bit of that. That's where you were moving into, your spine kind of, instead of going into side bend, you're kind of standing up out of it.
Right.
As soon as I drive with my right hip, my upper body falls into side bend. And that's where you start creating the whipping effect. And that's what I'm putting up soon on the side is when you look at somebody's swing who really knows how to truly swing the club. And you can have a golf swing in a lead side or trail side pattern. It doesn't have to be this hit that I think a lot of people associate with the trail side.
Mm-hmm.
A swinging pattern is what creates the snap and what creates the whipping effect of the club, where you have this massive swoosh of speed at the bottom. But you can't do that unless your arms and shoulders and hands are relatively passive. I know a lot of people hate that term, but that is the reality of it. In order for your hands to move really fast, they have to be able to whip and they have to be passive. So if your arms and shoulders and hands, your wrist is obviously applying force, but if your arms and hands and shoulders, upper body isn't applying force, then you have to have something else to move them. And it's that right side of the core. You already do that pretty well, but you haven't really ever learned how to use it forcefully. And that's going to be the next big thing for you to start adding power back to your swing where those 320-yard shots become the norm and not the exception, is being able to pivot on the trail hip and stop trying to move forward because that always moves you into standing up out of it. And of course, when
Right.
you start standing up, you have to start casting the club. And so those two things cost you speed. When you start pivoting from the trail side, your arm will fall down right next to your side. Your wrist will be able to just supinate for speed, and you'll have way more power than you thought possible.
Terrific.
We'll save that for lesson two.
You got it. You got it.
Well, Austin, listen, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I just wanted to catch up with you and see where you're at. And, it's good to hear that what was amazing is you're able to take this and go into a tournament right afterwards and play amazing golf. So congrats.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Again, this is a very different focus, and it's fun. And I will tell you, it was, with just a few setup changes, right arm and armpit facing out, and a small change in the grip. Again, very, very easy to do, and it was immediate.
Awesome, man. Well, Austin, thank you so much for your time, buddy. We will, I'll catch up with you soon and I'll make a trip up to Castle Pines again soon. I promise.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.